Members of Parliament at the Cape Town City Hall yesterday debated President Cyril Ramaphosa's State of the Nation address, which he delivered on Thursday last week. Opposition parties didn't spare the president and reminded him of job quotas he promised for the year 2018 during his first SONA, in which the country experienced more job losses in that year. Some MPs questioned Ramaphosa's decision to table the panel report on the July 2021 uprising in June, accusing him of wanting to first secure a re-election as ANC president before he implements the recommendation. Political economist and lecturer at Wits School of Governance, Matlala Setlhalogile, joins us now to talk a little bit more about it. Good to have you. Thanks very much for joining us, Matlala.
Morning, and it's a pleasure, Leanne.
So, quick one. What did you think of the first day of the debate?
It was a very typical first day of the SONA debate, Leanne. We expect opposition parties to tend to reject some of, the messaging contained in the SONA. It was nothing out of the ordinary in terms of opposition party stance on the SONA.
Yeah. So let's look a little bit more into it. So we'll start off with the 2021 uprising panel report. Now, despite that, yesterday, Minister Cyril said the country is not facing any threat. What did you make of that?
I think we need to be cognizant of the fact that what politicians tend to say in reality are not always, aligned. Had you asked Minister Cyril for sure about 12 months ago if the country is facing any specific threat, I guess the answer, he would have made the same remark. Law enforcement agencies in our country are in tatters. The Mufuma had a report, the high-level report on state security, I think paints the picture of a state security that's in disarray. The July unrest themselves indicated the inability of our law enforcement agencies to respond to even a mere domestic threats. So I don't think that Minister Cyril's utterances are factually correct.
I want to talk a little bit about Minister Cyril and what actually went down in Parliament yesterday, because I think it's all intrinsically linked at the end of the day. So we saw EFF leader Julius Malema also taking shots at Cyril getting up and then saying, that there is a plot by Cyril and Julius Malema to get rid of him. And then, of course, Malema coming forward and saying, well, you know what, come and repeat this accusation outside of Parliament. And then Cyril said he would. But there seems to be a lot of animosity going on there. And Malema basically calling for Cyril's head, that he must go. What do you make of what's going on there? And ultimately, who really should be held responsible? Should this fall at the feet of the police minister when we saw what happened during July and subsequent, just lack of what feels like security in South Africa?
I think what Minister Cyril did is a classic case of deflection here. He didn't address, the substance of the issue that was raised, that maybe our police force is a bit incompetent and our security forces are not up to the task. Instead of addressing such, he deflects to cast aspersion on other people. I think that's what politicians typically do. Minister Cyril never dismissed or assured us in any factual way with evidence that we are indeed up to the task in terms of securing South Africa, the territory, and also ensuring, desirable levels of security domestically. I think the crime levels are out of hand. If South Africa did not face any specific threat, the crime situation would be under control. What happened in the July unrest was just a glimpse. I think it's a fact that it happened in a bigger scale, that it actually put the abilities of our police force under the microscope. And Minister Cyril has kind of failed in that portfolio. what is it that he has done so differently in the past? I think now it's about 3 years. That improved the performance of the police in comparison to the fifth administration of government. I think those are the key questions that we need to ask and assess the role of Minister Cele in, reconfiguring and recalibrating our police force to ensure that it's fit for purpose.
Yeah. We also know, and we can see the massive tensions between Cele and Sithole. This is a very key discussion to also have, because those are two roles and two people that really need to have a very warm and close working relationship. And yet it appears, and we heard, we've spoken about it on a number of occasions where even after the State of the Nation address, Cele said that he only deals with Sithole's deputies. He never ever deals with him. They do not basically speak to one another. This cannot be conducive to a moving forward and a working police force.
Definitely, it can be. It can be. I think sometime last year, the president had actually asked Police Commissioner Sithole to furnish him with reasons why he should not be suspended. It was anticipated that the suspension of the commissioner is imminent. Also, we should also take note of the allegations that are leveled against the police commissioner. They're quite serious and grave in nature. He's accused to be involved one way or the other in the attempted acquisition of the 45 million rand grabber in 2017, or at least he had quite decent knowledge of that attack. But the manner in which the saga has been handled has protected for so long that has actually cast aspersions, and it can be seen as an attack on the integrity of the South African police service, and also as an indictment on the part of our executive in terms of addressing certain challenges of the governance systems. And I would think that the situation needs to be addressed expeditiously.
So, let's only, obviously, Cele is one focal point, but there are also many more. And that's just one issue that was raised yesterday. There's others, some MPs asking the question, why did the president choose to redeploy former SSA Minister Ayanda Dlodlo instead of acting on her for the failure of the SSA in protecting the country? Instead, basically, what happened was she was redeployed to public service and administration. So now that this report is out, do you truly believe that Ramaphosa is actually going to act as he says he will?
Promises from Ramaphosa to act on several issues are nothing new. It's the pace with which I think Ramaphosa acts that South Africans are concerned with. Ramaphosa seems to be quite a institutionalist and a person who adheres to process quite a lot. At times, that approach is not what's required at the moment. We need bold, decisive leadership in the country, and I think the president should read the room.
Well, certainly he should read the room, and then you've got the DA jumping onto the podium saying that if you don't read the room and if you don't implement, we'll make your job easy. We'll have a vote of no confidence against your entire executive, and we will do your work for you if you don't want to act against them. This is a general view held by most about Ramaphosa, that he just does not act against his cabinet. What is the president's problem in showing decisive leadership? Is he more interested in being re-elected into the leadership position of the ANC as opposed to worrying about the country, something that we've heard in leaked audio documents? Obviously, that's something we're still not going to talk to. But we've heard it on more than one occasion coming directly from the president's mouth. Is this just action that's lacking in his presidency?
Yeah, and I think we cannot ignore the fact that we have a party state of sorts. What happens in the ANC has a direct impact on the running of government. As it's not an ideal situation, but that's our current reality. The Section 102, subsection 1 motion tabled by the Democratic Alliance is a very interesting one. One sometimes would think that the inability of the president to act against cabinet members, besides the fact that he needs to maintain, relations within the party and relationships that would, in a sense, guarantee him a second term sorts within the party so that he can finish off his own project as that of being a president, of course, tend to impact or hamstring him in terms of him taking action against certain cabinet members. And maybe at times it's an indictment that no matter how many times I reshuffle this cabinet, the pool of people that I get to choose this cabinet from are not necessarily up to the task.
Yeah.
I mean, this would be supported by the number of task teams and units that the president has appointed over the years. I mean, some of these task teams and units that he establishes and appoints are simply a duplication of tasks. Government departments and existing government agencies should be tasked with certain things, but the president goes and appoints some of these units, task teams, an acknowledgement that maybe the current crop of leaders and the public service at large is not up to the task.
Well, I mean, again, another example, and I think EFF leader Julius Malema put it out there and asked, what's the purpose of appointing someone to cut government red tape, which is supposed to be an intervention by Treasury or small business, and the continued role of the small business department? I mean, this is just one duplicated role where he's got an external person and more of a business person coming in and doing that job. I mean, surely this is really showing us that the president really is not trusting who he's surrounded by. Also, in a way, putting so much under his watch in the presidency.
Look, Leon, in terms of that specific task team that was established within the presidency, headed by Mr. Nkosi, to engage in red tape reduction. I mean, red tape reduction has been an issue that government has been concerned with for quite a while. I know that there has been initiatives by the Department of Small Business Development and the National Treasury. You'd also remember in 2019 when the National Treasury published a strategy paper towards an economic recovery. They did point out that red tape reduction is one of the imperatives to ensure that structural reforms actually yield desired results in South Africa. They actually made mention of the 2017 bill that was tabled by DAMP on the red tape reduction bill, which was resuscitated sometime last year. The establishment of a unit, more than centralizing power, is an indictment on the existing departments of government. What is it that these two departments of government, the National Treasury and the Department of Small Business, have done to ensure that this issue of red tape reduction is taken care of? So the establishment of task teams, in a nutshell here, it's an acknowledgement by the president that he does not have confidence in the public service.
There's so much more I want to talk about, but I just want to go back to a few questions. We didn't talk or dwell too much on it, but very quickly, this vote of no confidence in cabinet that the DA has said should happen. Obviously, it's quite difficult because of the number of votes that is needed, and of course, you've got the majority ANC. But you know, in reality, what did you think of that? I mean, is this just obviously it's a political game, we know this, but what do you think of a move like that? The entire executive, get rid of them all through a vote of no confidence?
As you say, it's unlikely to succeed. It's sending a message that we have confidence in the president, is that his team, that we do not have confidence in. And I think the DA is also trying to play some sort of a slick game here to pit Ramaphosa against his own party. In addition to this motion of no confidence against the cabinet, you'd remember that when Ramaphosa made utterances during the State of the Nation address, especially regarding the role of government in job creation. And there's been a number of instances as well that the DA has come in support of Ramaphosa's remarks or views. This is done in a way to pit Ramaphosa against his own party and to also cause a stir and destabilize the ANC to an extent. A destabilized ANC is unlikely to perform at its optimal level.
Yeah. All right, we've got to leave it there. We have to stop. Political economist, thank you so much, and lecturer at Wits School of Governance, Matlala Setlhalogile, talking to us and discussing some of the points brought by MPs during the SONA debate.